On the sight, slack out of the trigger. 3, 2, 1. Finger on the index, holster up. You're all holstered?
Yep, holstered.
Safe.
All right.
Next line. All right, cool. How many was that? How many dudes?
You just shot.
That was 10. Give me the rest of you. Same thing. All right, same thing, dudes. Bra press out. Slack out of your trigger. 3, 2, 1.
20, 25 rounds. Sweet.
Any penetration?
No penetration.
What about now?
And we were engaging targets, and we never shot.
What level is that?
That's just pistol, level 3A for pistol and
that's
3A.
You brought it up.
Shotgun and pistol.
It stopped them all. Somebody just said you'd have like probably all your ribs would be broken, your heart probably would be mush with that. But
But the plate.
I want to, besides that they're one of our sponsors and we wanted to show the quality of the product, we'll talk about the good bits, right? Where'd the guys go? That's why they make armor, right?
That's high rent. This is a high rent area, right? There's a reason you shoot people there. There's a lot of important stuff in there, right? I think you guys know your heart doesn't set over here on the side where you put your, you put your hand over your heart. It actually kind of sets in here. It kind of sets about right there, right? Then you have lungs, and then you have these large vessels that run through here, yeah? Very large.
And for the same thing, you're carrying every day. Now you're seeing more people, even criminals or bad guys, wearing body armor. Start thinking about like failure drills, You put 2 rounds in somebody in the chest and they're wearing a plate carrier underneath and they're pointing a gun at you. You need to think about what you're gonna do after that. Nick, would that still hurt?
Yes. Yeah, if you have any questions about body armor, now's the chance to ask, and I could answer as honestly as I can.
Any of you guys carrying this stuff now?
I wish if I had my grant.
Any of you guys like sending your wives with backpacks with these? Or?
I would.
Yeah,
Well, not my wife.
Both my kids have plates in their backpacks.
Yeah. They make this stuff into panels that you can put in walls, and there's a lot of companies that make lightweight armor. They don't have the amount of testing. Look, even that stuff's lost all of its rigidity, but I'd guarantee we could put 10 more, then 10 more. So he's here. He's actually, who wants one?
No.
That's kind of his thing. After it's degraded, then he shows what it'll do to one more. We've all showed we can hit it. There's no misses. So do your job.
Let me do it.
Hold on to it.
Go back.
Cool.
No, not happening. Sorry.
What about if I let you shoot me?
No.
No, I'm not letting you shoot me after yesterday. I saw that.
But I'll just say a couple things real quick. Everyone knows Defender. Most people don't know our parent company, which is called Engents. And Defender Armor is a DBA of Engents. And the reason I share that is because our main, what we mainly do, what we're really good at, is armor for the military. So we currently have several active contracts with DoD, where we're literally developing the next generation of lightweight armor for the guys that are protecting our country. And so that's why we do what we do. And we launched Defender Armor really specifically for law enforcement and civilians, because when we launched Defender, there wasn't lightweight armor out there. Everybody was getting 8, 9, 10, 12 pound plates and spending 100 or 150 bucks. But I have a piece of material over here I'll show you. Armor is all about quality materials, the processing, and the just how you actually manipulate those materials in that process. And we have the best armor for the military in the world. And the guys that make armor for military like ourselves and develop it, there's a whole nother level of sophistication than what just standard civilians and law enforcement buy today. They're not buying from a company that makes armor for the military. It is not at the highest level that it can be. And so a guy spending $100 on a plate, he's getting exactly what he's paying for. Because I can make a $100 plate or I can make a $1,000 plate. And the difference is massive in terms of the trauma that it will cause to your body, the amount of bullets it will stop, the caliber, the ammunition. You know, there's a lot of science and development that goes into this.
Just like motorcycle helmets.
Exactly, yeah, very much so. And you know, we make, for civilians, we make level 3A armor, handgun protection, level 3 for rifle, mainly your lead core threats, level 3 plus, which is now jumping up to a little bit more of a mild steel core protection, like your AK rounds, mild steel core, PS ball. And then we created a 3++ armor plate for even more steel core ammunition, like your M855. You know, that has a really hard steel tip penetrator in there that just blows right through. You know, green tip, everyone knows it. So we made a plate that's 4 pounds specifically for law enforcement, because typically if you want to stop green tip protection, you're going to get a plate that's 8-9 pounds out there that folks can afford.
Yeah, and consider green tip is available in the open market, and we underestimate that in most of the armor that we buy for ourselves and for law enforcement. There's so much green tip on the market. Not illegal, not technically considered armor piercing rounds. And how many people brought it with them? I know you brought green tip, right?
Yeah.
So you might want to consider that when buying armor. You've been noticing a lot higher demand for plus now, right? Because of that?
Yeah, and in fact, you know, we're making a backpack armor system. When we say backpack armor, it's very similar, you know, pretty much the same technology, except we make it in a flat configuration, so it can fit much easier into a backpack, a briefcase, whatever, you know, system you're deciding to use. And so we're going to be making a green tip backpack plate as well, you know, to protect green tip. So obviously we make level 4, that's more of a military known system, but that's going to stop your 30-06 armor piercing, APM2. Typically not really going to see that unless you're overseas or in a real hunting area. But you know, we make even higher level protection systems than that, but we make it for the military. So
And you can't have it, but I'm going to tell you about it because it's cool.
Because it is very cool. But yeah, so we do a lot of customizations. We make stuff for homes, for offices. We turn cubicles into protective spaces for active shooter situations. And that's just unfortunately the way that we have to think today. And so I think that if we're all, you know, protecting ourselves with firearm, we have to go to the next level and now protect ourselves with trauma kits and tourniquets and everything that we need to do to address the post situation, right? So I think armor is just going to be another component of that everyday carry, and that's kind of what we're trying to get into and really you know, bring armor into this community. So you know, so our background's military, and now we're really trying to bring this to you know, folks here domestically.
What level of plates are available to the civilian market?
All the plates that I mentioned, from handgun level 3A all the way up to level 4. Typically the only state that really has a major issue with armor is Connecticut. You have to be military or law enforcement, but every state does differ a little bit in laws, and it's changing on a regular basis right now. Yeah, I could go into super depth, but I don't want to bore you. So
If you guys have questions for him or legitimately want to invest in some, it is an investment. So you buy some of those and take care of them, they last indefinitely.
yeah, you know, everyone thinks that, you know, we put a 5-year ballistic warranty on armor, and you have to think, what the hell is armor meant for? It's meant for a guy to be in combat. Seriously. And so that's why we put a 5-year warranty on it, because it's meant for a guy to go through war for 5 years, beat the living shit out of it.
Getting thrown in the back of
Yeah.
the truck.
And diving on the ground.
Sweat.
I mean, it's just ridiculous what a real armor system is going to go through in combat. It's going to get the shit kicked out of it. You know, and same with law enforcement for SWAT guys. Or you know, they're freaking. You know, I've been on some of their trainings, and what they do, you know, they're beating the shit out of their gear. So for civilians that are buying armor, it will easily double or triple the lifespan of the armor system, you know, going based off the warranty period. And you know, we designed this to last and to perform far, far, far above than what we even say it will. So even for ceramic plates, you know, folks get really nervous about breaking them and things like that. I mean, the technology today, we've actually designed some of our ceramic systems to be able to take a beating, to be cracked, to freaking have the shit kicked out of them and still defeat the ammunition. You know, because that's really what, you know, you have to prep a product for, is the worst case scenario.
So for us common folk that aren't super soldiers, if we take care of it,
Like
mine gets hung up, I'm not smashing it, it will last as long as I need it to.
Exactly, yep. I mean, materials will degrade. I mean, these are materials that are made specifically for ballistics, but materials do, degrade. You don't want to be wearing something that you bought 20 years ago.
Sure.
That you do not want to do, because I can guarantee you that the materials have degraded. Now they probably will stop rounds, but because armor is designed to defeat the most lethal round that you're buying at the highest velocity it's going to go at. So typically it will stop lesser ammunition, lower calibers, but it's not going to really do what it was intended to do when you bought it. So
Combining both sessions, say I got one plate, it's in my backpack, active shooter actually happens. I work in a university, so I start hearing yells. I got one plate. Does it matter if I'm wearing it back or front?
Which way's the threat?
Right.
Well, if it goes through
Like
you
if I
from
don't
the
know,
front,
that's what I'm
it'll
saying.
If you're running like
I think it's like anything. I really, I've done a lot of training with backpack armor. I was not I'm not really a tactical guy, but I've really invested myself in training with Mike specifically over the past 2 years or more now. And how you deploy something is how you train, right? If you've never trained with backpack armor, it's just a theory in your freaking head. What are you going to do when it really happens, right? So it took me about 2 hours on the range the first time just to be able to deploy my backpack and draw my firearm in a comfortable and safe way. I mean, I almost got hurt the first couple times I did it, actually. Like, it was dangerous. I had a couple people with me. And it really took several days of training just deploying my freaking backpack. And, but I also trained not deploying my backpack, So I think it's really important just to train whatever is in your head in real life, or else you're not really going to know how to react. Nice thing about having armor on your back, if you're engaging a threat, you need to find cover. I mean, your back's protected now, There's different theories to it.
While you're running away. Which is not always a bad strategy.
Yeah, I mean, in one of the scenarios I played off, threw range down in threw rounds down at the threat, saw, imagine him down, I go get cover, and then I'm still on the threat. Who knows if he has someone else coming behind me, and I just practice different things. I think same with anything, different scenarios. I know for backpack armor, like parents, parents that taking strollers and kids or whatever, and they have armor. What are you gonna do if something happens? Throw that frickin' armor over the baby or whatever. There's ways that you could protect, even your family just having it on your back. If threats behind you, you get them to a safe spot. So it's, I think it's all just training at the end of the day. But I'm not the tactical guy by any means. I just try to train with the systems that we make, right? So I always go to experts for that stuff.
No, but it's great that you're out there doing it, because there's too many people out there that have no idea, that are just shoving out products, and people are buying them up and spending tons of money. We have police departments, somebody's in purchasing, that we've trained, and we get there to train them, and they have $30,000 worth of med kits, and it's like, who picked this? Like, well, why did you guys buy this stuff? And so you being involved in it, then you can speak from a position of knowledge. You're out there with Mike, and you're training with guys that are really doing this, and that's huge. That's important.
Yeah, the funny thing too, you mentioned law enforcement gear that they buy they don't use, or it's the wrong gear that they bought. I would say the number one thing I get from every single police department is, yeah, they bought us armor and none of us wear it because it weighs 20 pounds, And so they tried saving money, and now, guys have something that they're not even going to use because they don't want to bother with it. They're not going to go to the trunk and put on 20 pounds of armor, unless, some guys will, but the majority of them say they won't. So, why not spend a little bit more investment money into a product and a protection system that they're actually going to use and wear, feel comfortable, it's going to have high performance. There's a lot of benefits to really evaluating situations and not just looking at a dollar sign. It sucks, but I can't even make some of these armor systems for what you could buy other plates for, and we can make the same plate, right? But I just know I don't want a law enforcement guy wearing that plate, because I know what it does. I've seen in a ballistic lab what it does to a human body. You know what I mean? I want to make a product, and I know if it's going on my freaking friend and he gets shot, he is going to be fine. You know what I mean? He's not going to be on the ground not able to breathe. We design these things to an extent where they're literally 50% below the trauma that the NIJ allows to your body, these plates literally produce 50% results below that trauma rating to your body on what it allows. Now, for the military, it's a whole different ballgame. Whole different ballgame than the NIJ. But we really go to a whole length for trauma because a lot of our products are going in the back of in kids' backpacks. And we have to think about that. Like, this isn't just going on a cop, it's also going in your freaking kids' backpacks. And a lot of the way we run our company is through our conscience. And if we wouldn't put it on our family, we're not going to put it out there for a civilian. And I would rather hear 1,000 people bitch about the price than ever have a bad conscience. And that's just me, you know? So, you know, we really stand behind our product and we believe that we make some of the best armor in the world.
Amen.
Awesome.
Good shit.
Let's
Is that one discounted?
Yes.
You're buying on a budget.
You hear this? You hear this?
What's up, Paulus?
Those are all the rounds. And that's really important. We designed these plates to actually keep the rounds inside. Zero deflection, it's not gonna bounce off. Even our ceramic and rifle, you know, this is just for handgun, but our rifle plates that are ceramic, they're designed to capture that entire threat.
So you don't have secondary impacts from things splashing around.
That's right.
Cheap steel armor.
You could have fragment wounds up into the neck, anything, but you know, like.
That's right. Even, depending on the type of ceramic plate you buy, that ceramic plate will shatter and cause wounds.
Become secondary projectiles, chunks of.
I mean, people just want armor. I'll tell you what, the cheaper armor you buy, it reacts in a very different way than an armor system that is much more sophisticated. Does that make sense? I mean, you really truly do get what you buy. And a lot of what we put into our armor system, we can't put out because it's all proprietary. It's very confidential to us. We try to put out as much as we can, but it's hard.
You know how the best way to sell your armor? Put AR 500 plates on someone on a 10-hour training day at the range.
That's the number one thing we hear.
Okay, and then go on a 16-hour deployment year after year and wear that crap and think that you are combat effective after 2 hours when you can't even feel your feet and you feel like your shoulders are ready to crush into your body. So being able to fight and have some sustainability, I don't care if I'm paying an extra $200 or $300 a plate, if it keeps me in the fight, not only after I'm getting hit, but during the process before I engage. I mean, you know exactly what I'm talking about with the stuff you're wearing right now. So sustainability becomes, for an operator or for a user, becomes a critical component of successful execution. If you can't sustain it for more than a couple hours, then why even bother? And then, wearing that crap for 10 years, you go back and you get the good stuff and you think, number one, it was insufficient to protect me against most of the threats, but the worst off is I just wasted all these years of torture on crap product. That's what I got mad about. Remember we talked about it? You give me this crap for all these years that I got a shoulder when something better, something better was out there, it really pisses you off. So I only run Defender. Best stuff I've ever used, and we have killed it out there. We do all the testing on it, the physical testing at my facility. And I mean, we shot that plate, that level 4 with that APN2 round at what, 20 feet?
Yeah, multiple times.
Multiple times. It's insane. I mean, that thing will practically go through an engine block, right? Amazing. Great stuff.
Cool.